Off top, shout out to Sunday Scoops in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and our man Phil. It may not make sense to you now, but we are going to get fat and happy at the end of this episode. Play the music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
All right, we're back. I guess people didn't know we were gone because we recorded some stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Well, we're back live. This is freshly recorded stuff. I missed you.
I missed you too.
I had a hard time talking to you because wherever you were on Earth, you had no cell phone service, which was the weirdest thing ever because I get a lot of texts and then I call you straight to voicemail. I just text it. It's like, you're my only friend, so it's uncomfortable.
It's true. You're also my only friend.
Not true. You have friends. I saw a picture of you and all your friends, which was embarrassing. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Charlie went to like a private high school here that occasionally has pretty good sports.
And usually bad, but
yeah, occasionally has pretty good. I mean, the home of Jonathan Ogden.
Yeah.
And so there were also, Charlie sent me a picture of him and his high school friends that went on when they went on a fishing trip, and they all are pro baseball players or were like pro level baseball players. So Charlie is looking tiny,
5 inches shorter than all of them.
And you're a normal sized man.
Yeah.
The picture, you look like a baby.
I looked like the younger brother who the mom forced to go to be invited on.
Where you guys going? Take Charlie with you, please. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I also never take a picture with someone who's paid to exercise for a living.
I love that story about how when you got to Vanderbilt, it's where you discover that you're a normal sized human and you're also a pretty good athlete.
Yeah, I was like, I don't suck at everything. This is great.
So where were you? Were you in a dungeon somewhere?
I was in the Jersey Shore.
Fist pumping?
No, different part of the Philly Jersey Shore. The the Hoagies Jersey Shore.
Oh, okay. That's the good differentiation.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, I was trying to think of the black alternative because Jersey Shore is somewhere that I just would never go, so I don't know about the differentiations of Jersey Shore. But people who go to Jersey Shore, they know that there's a difference between that.
So, yes, exactly. I didn't know there's a difference. I'd only ever heard of like Snooki and the Situation, right. Jersey Shore.
It's like PG and DC, where if you're not in this area, you think all of DMV are the same. But if you're here in like Baltimore and DC, people from Baltimore.
It's the funniest feud ever. DC Baltimore. No, but
yeah, it's very stupid, but you get it.
But no, yeah. So Jersey Shore, there's New York, New Jersey, and there's Philly, New Jersey. South Jersey are basically all Philly suburbs, and everyone above Central Jersey is like, I'm a New York suburb. But yeah, so we're in like the Philly part of the Jersey Shore. It's great. It's quaint. It's just like
so they call the whole shore the Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
I thought it was like how there's one spot.
No, there's like 30 towns that go down the coast of New Jersey.
Oh, okay, and they all are considered the Jersey. I thought Jersey Shore was one specific place, like Ocean City is like.
Yeah, so like basically, and it's so Ocean City and like Rehoboth and Dewey Beach are all like at like a point on Maryland, Delaware. Across that point is the Jersey Shore.
Oh, look at us. Geography and learning. Yeah. Thank you. So
I didn't know any of this stuff. I went with Carrie to the Jersey Shore for the first time. I was like, when are we fist bumping? Where's the EDM?
Yeah, Carrie, is your fiance. So.
Yeah, just some quaint beach town.
Sorry to all the snack fans. Later on in the show, we will be joined by a guest, none other than the Duke, Billy Gill, a great football mind from Dan Le Batard show and Metal Lark. I love Billy. He's fun.
He's the best.
And smart.
Dominique and Billy have been fighting against each other in the Guardian's top football analyst rankings for multiple years.
I was number one.
You were number one. I think Billy was 4 the first year, and they got disrespected to 7 the next year.
How dare them.
Which is ridiculous. But it's football time.
It is football time.
It's ever football and ice cream. Two of my favorite things.
We're just going to get back into talking football. Like, I feel like some catch
up. No. Let's catch up.
I went to L.A. recently. That was fun.
Anytime someone goes to L.A., do you not want to come back? Were you like, why don't I live here?
Of course. I mean, we did a lot of driving, and it was driving Ashley crazy, but I didn't mind it as much because whatever. But I went there for meetings. It's funny because I was like, I had some meetings to go to, and Ashley was like, we're going. I was like, oh, okay. So I was going to go out there for 3 days, then it turned into like 6 days. And one of my closest friends, other than you, lives in San Francisco. So he came down to celebrate his new job, and we went to dinner and sat next to Quentin Tarantino and Bill Maher. And I picked the restaurant, so my friend was like, you must know all the cool spots. And I'm like, yes, where 80-year-olds go to hang out. Like this is not the cool spot if Bill Maher and Quentin Tarantino are there.
Did you ask Bill Maher about interviewing the Haktua girl?
I did not. I didn't say a word to Bill Maher. I didn't have anything to say to him.
I would have been like so tempted to just be saying concrete jungle, wet dream tomato.
That is a great line from that. It was such a weird combination. I listened to that whole interview. I couldn't turn it off. It was like a car.
I've only seen the clips, and I'm like, this is the most weird 2024 thing ever.
I also I'm nervous about this other take because I tweeted it out and I got scared. I said that one of the days in the hotel, I walked in and Ashley was watching a Terry McMillan marathon on Lifetime, and Waiting to Exhale was on. And so I watched like the first half of it, and I tweeted out, I have some unpopular opinions, but I got scared to actually share those unpopular opinions. But the villains in that movie aren't the villains that you think they are. I'll leave it at that. What do you think about Waiting to Exhale? Who do you think is?
I have never heard of this movie. I do not know this movie. I've Googled it now. Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Voice of an angel.
Great actress too. I mean, she was good in that movie.
So who are the villains?
I'm just hypothetical. Let's say that the villains aren't who you think the villains are. I'm still scared. I'm not doing it. I'm not wading into those waters.
Is Whitney Houston the villain?
What? No.
Whitney's the hero.
What? Bernadine? She's a little bit of a loose cannon.
We're not making Bernadines anymore.
I think so. I saw
a lot more Bernadoodles out there than Bernadines at this point.
I saw Mina while I was out there, and her son Nino.
Just a hard pivot.
Yeah, because you said Bernadine, and I was thinking like Nino is not like an old-fashioned name, and lots of people are using old-fashioned names now, but Nino is not. Nino is sticking to being young and cool, but it was great to see Nino live and in person first time. Husky fella. He's so damn calm. Like, we went to their house to eat, and I took my wife and my kids, and my kid's youngest is 8, oldest is 13. All much more rambunctious than the almost 1-year-old. He was just chilling with his little chunky legs crossed, being cute. And my kids are doing backflips off the couch. My son keeps trying to tackle me, and Avery was just looking down at all of us, judging us. But
it's teenage girl.
Nick was surprised that they had some real kids in the house for the first time.
Because getting ready.
They had a robot baby. Like, he doesn't get upset. He just sits there and looks around like he's smarter than all of us, which he might be.
Probably will be. And probably have an elite max squat based on what you're seeing.
Nah, I don't know.
The bar is going to be bending.
He's going to be smart enough to know that he doesn't need to do no damn squats and ruin his back like you and me.
That's a good point. But having big pasty quads.
That's nice. Who doesn't?
So I'm looking at our shared document right now. And I talked to Dominique one of the times I had cell service, and
I got an update. I know what you're going to bring up.
He told me that he lost a race to his daughter Avery.
Yeah,
and ran a 3,000 meter and quote unquote got smoked.
Yeah. So the first time we did it, I hadn't run in a while, and she'd been running on the treadmill, and I was like, whatever, because like up until this point, I've always been able to just like pop up and just my general heart and athleticism could take over for any sport against any of my kids. We ran a 400 before we left for LA, and it was just heart. She had more heart than me. And
she beat you in a 400 also.
I don't want to talk about it. And then we got back, we ran 2 miles. And I was like, all right, I'm hanging in there. And then we got to the final stretch, and I live on a really steep hill. And I was like, get on this hill. And she started digging, and then I started coming, and she pulled away and beat me by about 6 feet. And so then we ran it again. This is the update. Gave her the blues, but it was kind of scary.
Was it like a photo finish?
It was pretty much a photo finish. So what happened was,
there's some Noah Lyles at the finish line of the 100 meter.
We come around this corner, and then up the hill, it's probably 150 meters straight uphill, pretty steep hill. And I took off and took a big lead, and then started coasting. It was like, I'm good. She walked me down and passed me, and I was like, no, we're not going to have this. And so I was able to burst. We got another one planned for tonight at 7 p.m.
Do we have a reverse parent situation? Did she let you win?
Hell no, you don't know her.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. We got a rematch tonight. I told her when I
know
get home.
Declan would never let you win.
No, of course not.
Under any circumstance.
And
but
Emmy would never let me lose. She loves me too much.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart, and she also don't got the killer instinct that the other kids got.
I think Avery might have let you win.
She wouldn't. Well, we'll find out tonight. So Ashley said she's going to record the finish tonight. So we got a 7 p.m. race scheduled after my flag football meeting because
2 miles is a brutal distance.
It's long.
Because you can't really coast for a second if you can't give her space.
Yeah. And the thing that really upset me the first time was like, all right, cool. As long as I'm close, because I thought she might pull away from me because she'd been running.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that upset me on the first race was I was like, all right, whatever. As long as I'm close at the end, heart. Beat her with heart. She had more heart than me.
Yeah.
But the second time I got it tonight.
She had more to gain. You had more to lose.
Tonight.
Well, so what happened in the 400?
Same thing. She doesn't know that she beat me in the 400.
How's she not know?
Because I was timing us and I slowed down at the end when I was like, I got nothing left in the tank with probably about 50 meters left. And I started yelling out times instead of finishing the race. But you know what? She was going to get it. She was going to kill me. I told her afterwards. But I'm getting in shape. So
yeah,
she's got the thing that she doesn't realize is I'm not in shape, so she's in trouble.
Me and Dominique are gonna go to the Exorcist stairs in Georgetown and run them together. Start training
right after the show. Right after we have some ice cream. Speaking of which, we tacked it on to the end of the show, but we just recorded it. Charlie is high as hell on sugar right now.
Look, there's a lot of talk out here in the football nerd community about whether or not momentum exists. Momentum exists in podcasting, and that ice cream was like the ultimate start to the momentum of this show.
It was outstanding. Is there any football stuff you want to talk about, or should we save it all till we join with Billy Gill? Is there any sport? I want to talk to you about the tennis stuff at some point. We got time to talk tennis.
We can do a tiny bit. We'll do it. We can do it. Yeah, sure. We can talk a tiny bit of tennis and steroids, then we'll get to Billy Gill and football.
All right, sounds good.
Do you want me to give like a brief once-over of what's going on with it?
Despite the fact that this is all very shocking and explosive stuff, I don't think tennis is in the main zeitgeist, and Jannik Sinner is not a mainstream American star, but the story's interesting as hell.
So, Jannik Sinner, number 1 tennis player in the world. He has won the Australian Open, won 2 Masters 1000 this year, is 47-5 on the year. If he finished the year with above a 90% win percentage, which he looks on track to, he would be the 4th player ever to do that, with Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, who are the 3 best players of all time. Sinner
sinned.
Maybe. It's unclear, but yes, he sinned. He tested positive for a billionth of a gram of clobestol twice in tournaments. Clobestol is like a 1980s steroid that like Fernando Tatis Jr. tested positive for and was suspended. And it's been sort of an epidemic of Italian athletes testing positive for it, partially because it's available over the counter in an anti-inflammatory cream. He claims that his physical trainer gave him a massage and that his body is predisposed to get lesions on it. And his trainer had a cut on his hand where he sprayed the clobestol spray on his own hand, and then it got into his bloodstream by getting massaged by that trainer. He tested positive for it again 8 days later, was allowed to continue to play. The ATP, normally you are guilty until found innocent, and you're suspended until the adjudication of this comes out. They appealed it immediately. They allowed him to play after a provisional suspension of 6 days, which is almost nothing. That was kept under wraps by the ATP. And now, 6 months later, he has been cleared of all negligence and intentional wrongdoing, was just fined the prize money from that one tournament and 400 ranking points. And let's just say it has divided the tennis world, because this guy went from extremely talented but top 10 player to right there with Alcaraz and Djokovic as someone who's looking like he's going to be one of the best players of all time.
Yeah. The shocking thing to me is, and I guess maybe it's changed, and you pointed out some of the, corruption's the right word, probably, that's going on in there.
Insane fucking cover-up.
But when I first saw the story, what shocked me, and this reminded me a little bit of the Chinese Olympic scandal, in that there was a time when you're responsible for what you put in your body, and there was no appeal process that could get you. Like, there was an appeal process, but it was kind of like a formality, because the point was, if you tested positive, I'm sorry if it was in a drink. I'm sorry if it was in a medicine. I'm sorry. However, whatever story you want to tell us about how it got in your body, it does not matter. You participated while having some sort of an advantage. And I remember having these in the NFLPA, we'd have these meetings every season. And that's what they would say. And I thought that was true. It was like, it doesn't matter how you got, unless there's like some nationwide recall of a popular cereal because it had steroids in it. If you mistakenly got something in you, you were done.
Well, and that's the process behind this is murky to say the least. And so the governing body, it's not actually the ATP, I think it's the ITIA or whatever, that's the independent tribunal on this, said that the amount in his system couldn't possibly be performance enhancing and that it wasn't his personal negligence. Mm-hmm. Not that it matters. You want to hear some of the excuses that tennis players have had before for when they test positive for things and still get suspended? Richard Gasquet tested positive for cocaine, French tennis player, and said it was from making out with a woman in a nightclub.
Oh, gosh.
Daria Yastremska tested positive for a testosterone supplement. She blamed it on filleting a steroid user.
No.
Sarah Irani claimed that she got a PED by eating her grandmother's pasta, which had somehow gotten medicine in it. I mean, the thing is, the point you made about a recall is actually a very important one.
Right.
Because Maria Sharapova, her career was essentially ended by a suspension because there was a legal drug in the ATP that might be a steroid masker, but it was basically something that could lower your heart rate and you could do more cardio. It was legal and then made illegal, and she admitted to having taken into it while it was legal, and then tested positive for it like a month later before she'd known it was added to the banned substance list. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Was suspended, essentially ended her career. Simona Halep, it was the precedent for this case, missed almost a year of tennis till her steroid use was ruled not negligent because a team trainer gave it to her without her knowing. All of this, it's almost not the point. Like, if you take something that's performance enhancing, like, I don't even know how you can pretend that it matters if it was intentional or not. We went through this with like Rafael Palmeiro and like people like us who are American sports fans are never going to buy this even if it's true.
Yeah. The last thing I want to touch on here is like this reminds me of some of my union experience is you're in an unusual position when you're having these performance enhancing drug conversations because you want the appeals to work, or you at least want the process to be available to everyone. And so there's a push and pull of we don't want it to be too intrusive on our players, but also, you know who's being hurt by this if it does not protect people? It's other players. So I remember clearly Jeff Saturday losing it in one of our meetings because we are like our caucus meetings before we into negotiations, because we're trying to defend the freedoms of our players, and like, which essentially is like, all right, we want less intrusive testing. We want less testing because no one likes to do testing. But at the same time, we want it to be safe. So it's one of the few union topics that's like very hard to find an agreement on.
This is why I texted you this story over break, and I said this is one of the most fascinating parts about it, because I think oftentimes in sports, players, and you know this, you guys are all going through the same that we can't totally understand. There's different pressures. There's different expectations of bending your entire life for this type of performance. And a lot of times in football, even if with PEDs, there can be like not talked about as much in the locker room. And since it's a team sport, if you serve your suspension and you're good, you'll get re-signed. Tennis, your career, you start again on a challenger tour, essentially. You start because it is an individual ranking sport. And what's really interesting is players have seemed incredibly divided on this. And it's not even that they're calling out Sinner for being a cheater. They're calling out the process that the ATP is showing favoritism to top players. Like there was an Italian player ranked 360 who got a 4-year ban for testing positive for the same substance. The number one player in the world, 6 days. Yeah. And so you have Shapovalov, Nick Kyrgios, who's maybe taking it a little bit too far. He's just saying he's definitely a juicer. But like Kyrgios, Shapovalov, Liam Brody, you have guys up and down the ATP and WTA who are like, this is corrupt. Yeah. The league actually admitted to covering this up and showing favoritism to a top player in a way that, I mean, the integrity of the tour is really in question because like what else has been covered up for top players?
Yeah. I mean, and the reason why it's also particularly inflammatory in an individual sport is the money is so different at the top, and one spot getting bumped down one spot changes everything. And
there are under 100 guys who can make a living, men and women on each tour who can make a living playing tennis.
Right. And if he wins a major that or if someone wins a major because they are juicing, the guy who came in second place is losing a lot of potential money and endorsements, then third, all the way down the line. And you don't have that direct an impact on football because the person who's bumped off the roster is normally a no name that you don't know about. You do have like on-field stuff, and yeah, I don't know. All right, we wrap it up. I don't think people.
I think it's a fascinating story if you want to look into more of it. The tennis is a part of it, but the reaction of the players and seeing a split of professional athletes and like the infighting is equally fascinating. He's going to be the number one seed in the U.S. Open. We're going to learn a lot about how he'll fare against the Alcarazes and Djokovic's of the world in the next couple of weeks.
All right, let's talk to Billy Gill about some football. Look who's here. Everybody's favorite, Billy Gill. That shirt is beautiful, man. I love the color. What is it?
You like this little hoodie King situation? I should probably sit still. Yeah,
no, you're fine. You move around. I thought it was Miami related just because it's like bright Miami colors, but I guess it's Ken Griffey, the only baseball player that I looked up to when I was a child.
The original Mariners uniforms?
No, I get it now, but I'm saying that when I just sat down, it's like bright colors, and he's in Miami. I just associate him with Miami-ness. Speaking of Miami.
The Duke.
The Duke is here. So I really wanted to talk to you because I heard you talking about the interview that your colleagues did down there in Meadowlark with Tua and responding to Brian Flores' coaching. And I thought that you had some interesting insight. It was unbiased, I guess. It felt like this, like so many things that we talk about now, have to take a side. And listening to you, I got to be honest, I stole some of your opinions and used them later. Yeah,
really?
Appreciate it. Because I think it's only fair to acknowledge that we're getting one side of the story, and there's two ways to look at it. And while Brian Flores could be, like the reports that we heard about Brian Flores are pretty egregious, it's also understanding that he probably thought he was doing things to help, I assume.
Should we set the table and explain exactly what happened?
Everybody knows.
Everyone knows, but just quickly, Tua called out Brian Flores, said that going to work for him, Flores was essentially rooting for him to fail, didn't really want him as his quarterback, and he's kind of a bad person. And Brian Flores responded saying that they, can't help but hurt his feelings, and he sort of questioned the veracity of all of it from it being from one side. That's it.
He also threw in the "I've grown," which is always the line that you say when you're, trying to excuse bad behavior, I guess, and you can't really prove if someone's grown or not. Like, it's just weird, right? Because you've played football, obviously. I'm sure there's coaches that you hated or a coach that left a bad taste in your mouth. So you're like, this is a terrible person, right? But other players like that person. And Brian Flores, it was his first time as a head coach, right? And in football, you are, sometimes you want to be like that drill sergeant, that hard coach that, is really tough on everyone because you think that's what's going to get the best out of the players. And it doesn't always work that way, right? And like he comes from coaching under Bill Belichick, who has that reputation. But if you talk to some of his players, he doesn't really have that reputation, right? Like that's just the way that it looks on the outside. So it's very possible, and I don't know the situation, right? But it's very possible that Brian Flores in his first coaching job thought, this is the way that I need to coach. I need to kind of intimidate players. And like Tua specifically, he never wanted him. Right? Like he didn't want to draft him. He didn't want him when he was on the team. He wanted Ryan Fitzpatrick. There was rumors that he wanted Deshaun Watson. Then there was a weird Tom Brady situation where Stephen Ross wanted to have a meeting on a boat and illegally get him to the Dolphins. And then that's when Brian Flores was like, no, I'm a man of principle. I do not want Tom Brady on my team. But by the way, let's look the other way with the whole Deshaun Watson of the situation. Bring him over to make me better. It's just like, it's a he said situation.
Well, I mean, there's no other he said because Brian Flores isn't pushing back on any of this stuff, which I thought his response, like everyone else, was a little bit skeptical about how genuine his response was. But I also thought it was a masterful response. Like, so often the instinct is to defend yourself. And he was like, he used all the words, and yeah, you can judge him and say he used words like I've grown. But like, that's the right way to respond to it. And it also could be true.
Well, it also
Right.
ends it, right? Because it doesn't go on into the football season. It doesn't go back and forth. If he goes and defends himself, then you can go back to Tua or whatever. But he's like, yeah, Tua's right, whatever. And then you kind of move on and forget about it. As soon as kickoff starts week 1, like no one's really going to talk about it anymore, right? So he may not even believe what he's saying and saying like, yeah, he's right, I was wrong or whatever. But at least now it kind of de-escalates the situation.
It's still shocking to me that Tua decided to do it in the first place. Because it didn't seem like...
This has been going on for a year since he went at Ryan Clark, where he's like enough of the... I feel like he's sort of gotten comfortable enough to be against the criticism of him
I guess
publicly.
The Ryan Clark one seemed obvious or because it was immediate. The thing that about this is odd is no one was talking about it. But I mean, it could have just... And it seemed like it was definitely something that he wanted to say.
Yeah.
Like Dan didn't trick him into like telling his deepest, darkest secret. It felt like he was like,
next year at your darkest moment.
you can laugh. It's okay. It seemed like he wanted to get that off his chest.
But he waited, right? Like he waited for the right minute to get it off his chest. Like when he gets his contract and he's secure and he knows, okay, this is where I'm going to play. And in a sense, he proved Brian Flores wrong, right? Where the team that he thought didn't want him under Brian Flores is now committed to making him the franchise quarterback, which they in part did by firing Brian Flores, right? Because Brian Flores' record did not deserve him being fired, which is what led to the lawsuit and led to him, saying that he was wrong, right? But you're in a situation where you have a franchise quarterback against a newer head coach, and something's got to give. And I guess Brian Flores, even at the time, may have overplayed his hand thinking, I can go after Tua because I know that our owner isn't really committed to him in that he's trying to bring in these other quarterbacks until it kind of blew up in Brian Flores' face and they fired him. And then there's the lawsuit of it, right? But Tua still was somewhat quiet. And even at the time, I think Jeff Darlington would report that like the two of them were always butting heads and it was not a healthy relationship. So that wasn't going to last. And I guess maybe the surprise there was they committed to Tua. They bring in a coach who believes in Tua, who's kind of made Tua work or believed in Tua to the point that he puts him in successful positions in Mike McDaniel, and you surround him with all of these pieces where Tua led the league in rushing last year, right? So still, while not getting along, Tua kind of didn't really say anything this controversial about Flores until now when he's locked up.
We can move on from this topic. The last thing, you got something?
I was going to say, dude, do you want to connect it to the Brady of it? Tom Brady's in the media now. He's coming for all of our stuff. And he basically made a big point about he wanted coaches to coach him hard,
right? And
not thinking that you can sort of be the an accountable person if your ego is big enough to not accept criticism. And that seemed, it's not direct, but it seemed pointed it to it.
Which is fine. And I have to be honest, like the caveman football guy in me originally is like, man, if you can't handle some people saying some mean things to you, it's going to be really hard for you to be a quarterback in this league. But it's also like, no one can handle it all the time from everywhere, from the people who are supposed to support you while you also have the worst offensive line in the league. So like it's a tough spot to be in. And I guess the part about it that's interesting to me is I assume that once you have a certain amount of credibility, because I've been around coaches who tried to push all the buttons. And if they felt like something wasn't working, they call me a name or say something like this. But this was like a rare occasion or in a response to something. It was not persistent, and it seemed like the way that Tua was explaining it. And again, we have to reiterate that it's only one side of the story, but it seemed like the way that Tua was talking about it was persistent. And for Tom Brady, it's very different. I don't know how Tom would have done in his career if that's what he walked into, because that's not what he walked into. He fell into a situation and they needed the best out of him in that moment. That's not a moment where I would assume that Bill Belichick used to tell him, you know what, you stink. I find it hard.
Patriot of the week though.
Yeah, good.
What'd you guys make of Tom Brady's comments where he flat out said, like, if I felt like you weren't prepared as a wide receiver, I would tell the coaches, don't even put him on the field. Like, it's not going to you. So, like, all these years we were trying to figure out why didn't certain receivers work in New England? And it's like, oh, well, Tom Brady on the field was that coach, essentially, where he would just say, I'm not even going to look at this person. I'm not giving them the ball.
Gotta love it.
I love it too.
Gotta love it. I mean, so what I like is there's some hard and fast rules that we can live by. it's not at all. So it's close to getting a text message saying you don't belong here or whatever. Don't F it up tomorrow. Like, I get why some people would say those things are similar, but it's not to me. It's setting a standard. This is what we do here. It doesn't matter who you are. If you don't reach this standard, I'm not going to throw you the football. That seems fine to me, because being unprepared for a game is different than like just flat out not being good. Like, if Tua was bad and Brian Flores was like, you suck, like, that to me seems like it serves no purpose. If Tua showed up and didn't know the playbook and Brian Flores was like, hey, you don't know the playbook, you can't play, that to me seems like, right? That's the world that we all want to live in, where they're real straightforward standards that if I follow them, I will be rewarded. If I don't, I will be punished. I mean, that's what it boils down to for me. And Tom Brady, maybe there's a different way. I guess you could argue there's a different way to go about bringing along receivers. But that's not the way that he went about it. As long as we are clear with the rules, I don't have a problem with it. Right, Billy?
Right.
Should we go to some more topics of people taking other people's stuff?
Whose stuff's getting taken now?
Tyreek Hill is trying to come for Noah Lyles' stuff.
God.
What do you guys think about this story? Tyreek Hill keeps saying he's faster than Noah Lyles, who won the 100-meter dash. Spoiler alert: he's not faster than Noah Lyles. Noah Lyles like, I need millions of dollars to race this guy. Tyreek Hill wants to be a 50-yard dash. What do you guys think about this whole situation? They both seem kind of annoying.
It seems fair. Do you believe that Tyreek Hill is clout chasing by trying to race Noah Lyles, which is crazy because, like, I could see that argument because he's the one that's kind of in the news right now, but Tyreek Hill is substantially more famous than Noah Lyles.
In America, I think you're absolutely right. You are applying a level of strategic thinking to Tyreek Hill that I'm not sure always exists. I think Tyreek Hill just thinks he can beat Noah Lyles in a race. I don't think that this is some strategy for Tyreek Hill. I think there's somebody out there. He is known for being fast, and there's someone out there who says that they are fast, or is the fastest man in the world. Tyreek Hill wants to go lose to him, I guess. I don't care if it's 50 yards. Unless there are defenders out there.
Or you have to turn. I change direction, not turn. I guess Noah Lyles does turn in a 200 meter.
There's no
Turner. There's
no distance, and obviously Noah Lyles is a slow starter for an Olympic 100 meters runner. Yeah, he's a slow starter. I'm sorry, Tyreek. You're amazing. You're fast. You can't beat Noah Lyles in a race of any distance.
Hey, Billy, who do you think was rooting harder against the other person? Do you think Noah Lyles was rooting harder for Serbia against the U.S. in basketball, or the U.S. basketball team was rooting harder against Noah Lyles in the 100 meter?
Noah Lyles is interesting because he's very confident, let's say, right? And he makes these proclamations, especially about NBA players, while seemingly having never watched the NBA or being familiar with anyone in the NBA, but is confident that he's a better athlete than everyone until he doesn't prove it. And then he had COVID, but then he went to a party like right after. Like, there's a lot going on with Noah Lyles because, like, even the race, I think that he got the bronze in, right? Where then afterwards, like, oh, well, he was really battling through COVID. Like, he had the most elaborate entrance ever coming out. Like, he seemed plenty healthy. So I don't know. I mean, he makes sports fun, right? Like, the Olympics, not to throw my credentials around here, but as a former Division I track athlete, track is boring as hell. So you need someone like Noah Lyles out there to make things exciting, because if not, you're just watching people race and it's like the meets are endless. They go on for days and days, and it's like, when is this going to end? So I love Noah Lyles' personality. I also do wonder, though, when life is going to catch up to Noah and Tyreek, and they're going to realize that, like, I'm faster than you doesn't really prove anything. And also, like, the younger, faster people are going to pass you by the next Olympics.
Being faster than someone, it proves everything all the time. It always matters. It's never not going to matter. Thank you very much, pole vaulter.
Well, I'm a slow person.
The Noah Lyles thing, to me at least, I was always confused why the basketball players cared so much. that Noah Lyles said this, and it's made it even more ridiculous now that he's exposed that he doesn't know a couple of the best players in the NBA. Like, he was obviously just like being a wrestling heel and trying to get people interested, which is to your point. Like, it's boxing, wrestling, track. It helps if you have someone that you can either root for strongly or root against strongly. So Noah Lyles' bit, it's perfect for Noah Lyles. It's good for the sport. It made the Olympics more interesting. But to me, when he said that and all the NBA players got all upset, I would have been like, okay, so we're NBA champs. There was a time when the NFL and NBA were not a big enough deal, and so you would try to make the championship sound bigger by saying world champ. I think actually being an NBA champ is bigger now than calling yourself a world champ. So like the teams who win the world championships, do you know who won them? Like, no one cares.
The U.S.
Yeah, probably. But in other sports, no one cares. It's like the NBA is what we care about. Saying we're NBA champs is not an insult. Saying you're not world champs is, Noah Lyles is right. It's kind of accurate. Like, technically, you're not a world champ. It's like saying that like the Chiefs are the champions of the CFL. You didn't win the CFL. We know that you would probably beat the CFL champs, but you didn't win the CFL. I kind of understand where he's coming from. It's a perfect troll because it's suggesting that these guys aren't good when they actually are the best. It's just confusing to me why someone would say it to me and I would get upset. Like, oh, who said that? Noah Lyles? Well, watch this.
That's one of the things. Like, I kind of, at the beginning, I kind of thought Noah Lyles was a little bit annoying.
Yeah,
I kind of think the other athletes who are drafting off of this are way more annoying. Like,
so stupid.
It's not really a coincidence that it's like Durant and Damian Lillard and Tyreek Hill who are the ones who are like drafting on the fumes of Noah Lyles right now.
They were like saying that they openly rooted against him, right?
Yeah. Oh, Josh Hart was.
Oh yeah, Josh Hart.
Yeah,
I like that. I like spite rooting against your country in the Olympics. I feel like Noah Lyles, if he was like around in like 1984, would be like one of the biggest stars in American sport, right? And like that's just more so like the Olympics is like a fun summer distraction for 2 weeks while we wait for football to start, or why, after basketball season ends. Because like Noah was complaining that in other countries, when you get home after winning a medal, there's 30,000 people waiting and they give you a parade. And when he got home, it was just his mom and his dad. And then he was complaining that Anthony Edwards has a signature shoe and they invited him to the event. And he's like, I should have a signature shoe. They should be coming to my event. And it's like, okay, no, like, come on.
I mean, no one's buying the Noah Lyles ones.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
And also,
like,
Noah,
come on.
like, you're not new here. You've known this. Like, you've known this the whole time. Did you see that tape of Quincy playing football?
Oh yeah, the Bullets kid.
Yeah. Noah, if you wanted droves of people to give about what you were doing, you should have strapped on a helmet and sprinted past people. See, you grew up knowing that we weren't going to give a about you.
I don't know if it's just that though, because he might not have. Because it's like people gave many about the Usain Bolt races when it was like, because it was this golden era of sprinters like Usain Bolt, Tyson Gay, Justin Gatlin, the Jannik Sinner of sprinting, some might say, and Asafa Powell and Johan Blake.
Right.
Those are the 5 fastest sprinters of all time who are all in that 100-meter final, and people really cared about that.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, we cared about the event. We cared about it the same way we cared
Usain
about
Bolt and see if someone could beat him.
But every 4 years.
And Usain Bolt is the fastest ever.
Well,
like,
that's what I was
it
gonna
became,
say.
and he did 3 Olympics. Like, it became something different for Usain Bolt. All the rest of those names that you just rolled off, I was like, oh yeah, him.
That guy.
Yeah, it's not like I know Bill Russell. Like, it's not even the same. You know what I mean? Like, it's from a much longer time ago. Like Bob Cousy. I could just name random basketball players.
Yelling names now.
But I'm just saying these are faces and people whose names I do not forget. Whereas you're bringing up people that's like, oh yeah, Justin Gatling.
No,
that's right.
My
so
whole
Noah's
point was
known this whole time that if you wanted to be famous, you should have grabbed a basketball.
Billy, I get gaslit like this all the time, and I get to finish my point, which is that it used to be you go to the Olympics and there'd be a new world record and be like, I'm the fastest man of all time. And then there was these 5 great sprinters who made the records to a point that Noah Lyles isn't coming that close to them. And that's why it doesn't matter as much to people.
I think my favorite part about his shoe beef in particular, saying that he should be the one having the event for the signature shoe, is just the idea of like the functionality of a track spike for sprinters. Like that is never going to be something someone wears on the street walking around. Where basketball shoes, you can sell what, like hundreds of thousands of pairs where track spikes, who is going to buy that? You can't wear those anywhere except on the track.
We're not gaslit. Billy's right. No one wants those shoes. The point is,
No.
You don't have to be Michael Jordan. You're arguing that the reason why he is not more revered is because he's not approaching the greatest of all time.
No, I think the
My
100
point-
meter used to be more of an event because it was seeing if you'd be the fastest human ever.
Yeah. He's not saying be Michael Jordan. He's saying be Michael Johnson.
Maurice Green.
Again, yeah. And those guys were famous in their time and no one knows them, or we remember them, but they aren't as relevant now. My point is, you just make the NBA, make an all-star team. You're hugely famous in this country. You're saying that the reason why he's not famous is because he's not approaching the greatest.
He's
record of all
famous.
time.
Noah Lyles is
Or, yeah,
definitely
he's
famous.
Reason why he doesn't have this big welcoming committee. No, that's not the reason. The
You don't
reason
think
is
if he had
it's
broken
America, damn
Usain
it.
Bolt's record, there wouldn't be a big welcoming committee for
I know. My point is,
957?
I
You
guess
don't
it
think
does-
that's getting the parade?
There
I
would
guess it
not
doesn't
be.
matter. Maybe it
There
gets a
would not
parade.
be a parade.
But my point is, you have to reach that level in order to get a parade. In America, if you want a tennis shoe, there are lots of guys who have not won a championship who have shoes that are nowhere near the basic of all time. I'm just saying, you grew up in America, Noah. Stop pretending like you're surprised that nobody cares about you except for every now and then.
I care.
No, you don't. You hate Noah Lyles.
LaMelo Ball has a shoe.
He does.
Who's the most ridiculous person to have a signature basketball shoe right now?
That's a great
I don't
question. Here's the thing about LaMelos. I kind of like them, but I don't think I can pull them off. Like, I see them like, ooh, I like the way those look. I don't know that I like the way they look on me, and I will just get bullied. Like, as it is, you guys don't understand how many different outfits I went through just deciding on what to wear today on this show. Like, I had at least 3 different shirts, and then I thought, should I be professional? Should I wear a jacket? And I'm like, well, I will get made fun of and bullied if I do that. I ironed another shirt, and then I sat down, and I'm like, this looks like something that they're going to make fun of me for. I had a shirt that had parrots on it, and I was like, well, then they're not going to take me seriously. And then I settled on a hoodie. So
It's a great hoodie.
Perfect choice. I was thinking when I was getting dressed today that I put on a Illmatic shirt, and I was like, damn, that's a real wash stash shirt to put on. And then I put on some Jordans, and I was like, man, that's some real wash. Like, I feel like young, cool people don't wear Jordans anymore. I'm just an old dude who still thinks Jordans are hot.
This is Dominique got Botox in August, and now he's thinking that he's really old.
really,
I hate it.
I think you look great.
I hate it.
How good does his forehead look, Billy?
I hate it.
why'd you decide to get
My
Botox?
wife talked me into it, which is a likely story. It probably doesn't sound true, but that's what happened. And the reason why I hate it is not because it eliminated the wrinkles. Like, that was cool, eliminate the wrinkles. It's because it's made my hairline look like it's further back to me. Because before there was like some bumps and wrinkles
Is that
would
what's
distract
happening?
you before the hairline. Now it's like eyebrows. And it's just open fill, and it makes it look further back. I don't like it. I'm never doing it again.
So it's not that your hairline, it's not that it's receding, it's that the Botox is making it appear to be receding.
It is receding, but the smoothness is there. It eliminated the distraction. We had some wavy distractions in here that would stop you before you recognize how far back the corners are getting. Like, we got some bad corners right here. The D-line, holding strong. Safeties, best safeties in the league right here. I don't got no cul-de-sac. I don't got no circle spot back here. My safeties are good. The problem is we don't got no corners.
Maybe get like a nice head scar to distract from the receding hairline.
So I got to scar myself now? I mean, a little
Maybe.
bit more distraction, you're right. Because then you're not the guy with the Stephen A. hairline. You're the guy with the scar on your face. You're right. That's a good point.
Well, then also, I feel like people like will politely like try not to look at a scar in the middle of your head, and they'll look away, so they won't even notice if the hairline's receding because they'll just like look and then look away, you know,
That's always a really awkward feeling.
or grow some
When
bangs.
someone catches you looking at something you're not supposed to look at.
It's like a mole.
Yeah.
It's like Austin Powers with the mole.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Anyway, that was awesome, Billy. Now we get to eat some ice cream. We'll do this again sometime, sir. Can we come down and hang out in Miami again soon?
Yeah,
All right.
whenever you want. Stay at my house if you want. This thing pulls out
Love
into a
it.
bed.
Can I borrow the sweatshirt? So cool.
Yeah, sure.
All right, see you, Billy. All right, thank you so much to Billy Gill for joining us. Now we have to let him go for the fun. Now, again, shout out to our man Phil at Sunday Scoops in Virginia Beach. He sent us a whole bunch of ice cream. Charlie's wearing the beautiful sweatshirt. We got a ton of flavors, including ube, That's how you pronounce it, right?
Ube.
That's the shirt that Charlie's wearing and their most popular flavors. So they sent us so many flavors. We left a couple in the back. We left cookies in the back. We left chocolate peanut butter Oreo in the back. We left lemon raspberry in the back, which means we left all them delicious things in the freezer. We got some bangers out here. So what do you want to start with? You want to start with the cake, or do you want to start with? I can read all the flavors.
The ube, which is ube, a Filipino yam. Not to be confused with Pablo Torre, a Filipino ham.
Oh my gosh, what a joke that you obviously couldn't wait to deliver.
That's exactly right. I wanted to say when you said ube first.
Yeah, I feel like this whole thing was just...
Should I give my other joke?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Welcome back to the Cookies and Cream podcast.
That one's even worse. But anyway, let's start with ube. I'll get some.
They gave you all the flavors. So I'm gonna filibuster here while you try this ube
flavors.
ice cream.
It's beautiful. First of all, it's purple.
If you're not watching on YouTube,
you should.
This is some ice cream ASMR.
Oh. Hold on, let me give him some more noises.
And this is our rating scale is on
the mouthfeel tremendous. Like
1 to 5 scoops.
This is definitely 5 scoops. It's unique and it's delicious. Like I wouldn't have expected ube ice cream. I mean, I don't know. It's a flavor that I wouldn't have expected. But it's unique and delicious. It's beautiful. First of all, the color.
It is a beautiful ice cream flavor. I don't know which spoon you use. It doesn't even matter.
Whatever.
All right.
You use the wrong one, you might get faster.
If you use the wrong one, you might get fatter.
That's 5 scoops for me. 5 scoops.
I really like it. It's a toast. There's a toasted coconut finish.
Toasted coconut finish. 5 scoops. We're rating them all out of 5 scoops. Well, I guess we should leave some room.
This is really bad too because you showed self-control and took a single bite. I'm not taking a second bite.
I'm gonna keep going. We'll give it 5. I feel like we have to have room. Yeah. Can we just rank them?
No. I think it's like figure skating. We might not want to give a 5 yet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
4.4 scoops.
Okay.
By the way, a little savory notes on this ube. Fantastic. Which one did you try?
Oh, that was espresso Oreo blast. I used the spoon on this side. I love that one.
This time.
I love that one.
So coffee Oreo is like one of my favorite ice cream flavors.
I think it's good. I feel like ube needs respect because it's so unique. But if I'm actually there, I think I get the ube just because it's unique. But I actually like espresso blast better.
No, this one's great.
All right, it's badass.
Coffee ice cream needs to have like some actual coffee espresso flavor, not sort of like the.
Did you get? It's like a little something in there. You got one of the little like. There's like I guess the blast. There's like a sugary cinnamony blast or something.
Definitely, there's like a little special sauce.
Yeah, maybe that's the Oreo. I don't know what it was, but it was outstanding.
Also, fresh Oreos, not them little crumbly at a bad ice cream shop.
All right, this one is called Cookie Monster. And it's blue. It's strong. Oh, I like that.
So what are we going? 4.7 on the espresso
higher.
blast?
Yeah, that's higher.
Okay.
But I think the thing about ube is like if you go there, you have to have it because it's so unique. And it's beautiful.
And
it's very good. Yeah, it's very good. But if you say you have one last scoop of ice cream right now, I'm going with the espresso.
So you know what's crazy about this? The ube one, and I mean this complimentary. That's something I feel like you would get at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah, it does feel like you're right. They would just put a tiny scoop of it on top of a wafer at the end of a meal, and you would be, are you making a mess over there?
Yeah, I dropped some ice cream on the floor.
This is Cookie Monster. I like Cookie Monster. It's strong. It feels like a combination a little bit. Like it feels like it has some ube in it. Do you taste that too or no?
I'm not sure. Definitely some like cookie dough or some like
I like that
chocolate chip cookie flavor. Really good. I'm putting this in the 3-hole though right now.
Yeah,
I'm going ube as my silver medalist. We have some more ice creams to try.
Yeah. All right.
Really good though. I mean, like again, we're not just. I mean, we are shills, but we're not just shilling for this. This is actually really good ice cream.
I used to make ice cream. Did you know that?
No, you told me you mentioned this slightly off air.
Yeah.
You used to make ice cream.
Yeah. I used to make ice cream. I'm weird like that. Like I'll get a little like hobby kick. Like I used to be a big puzzle guy. I was a big Lego guy for a little while. Like, and a couple summers ago, I got an ice cream maker. And so I started making ice creams and you could make all the flavors. We made hot honey biscuit flavor because my wife makes biscuits.
Yeah.
And so we made a hot honey flavor with a little bit of strawberry jam sprinkled throughout with some hot honey. Ooh, that was hitting.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Call me up, Phil. Let's make a Domonique Foxworth flavor. I got you.
You're saying that? That's like something that could be on a menu. No, by the way, you mentioned puzzles. This is a small aside. My fiance Carrie is the least ADHD person in the world. She gets like a 500-piece puzzle and will just do it in a day. She just sits there for 8 hours puzzling. I'm like, can I get some attention here?
I love her. That is outstanding.
I just like walk around. I'm like, what's up? And she's like, not now. Which one we got now?
Oh, we are on Henny and Coke.
Henny and Coke.
I don't know what kind of Coke is in there, but I feel like I have a little bit more energy and I want it back. That's the only one I took 2 scoops of, and I took 3. That's strong. It's moving up there for me.
This one's great.
I know.
It tastes like a Coke float. Like, tastes like a root beer float type of thing.
With Hennessy in it. Or with Henny in it.
I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. I had no idea what this was going to taste like.
I mean, we could do the rating system if you want to. I feel like I'm on 5 straight 5 cones. We can rank them, too. Like, that's climbing up my list.
Yeah.
I think that might be my favorite.
That's the most shocking one to me. I had no idea what
got a
Coke
little
ice
kick
cream
to
flavor.
it.
Yeah,
I like it. All right, right now, this one, banana pudding.
I love banana pudding.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped the G. He puts the G on there, but I feel like it's banana pudding.
Yeah.
Okay. Lord. I'm sorry for cursing. My bad, Megan. You got to bleep those out, but that is good. I'm sorry. I'm making all types of uncomfortable noises. I hope you're watching because if you're listening, you might think more than ice cream is taking place.
This is the lightest one by far. When this has like whip, this is awesome.
It is awesome. I like it. All right. Have some cake.
This is the one I get to try first.
Yeah. Is it cake or is it pie?
It's a pie. It's a salted caramel butter pecan pie.
Is he on like, don't they have like Gold Belly and stuff where you can order stuff? Because I would order these. My kids love ice cream. They're going to be so excited. I don't love ice cream, honestly, but I love this ice cream.
I've been silent now, just laughing off camera. This one is phenomenal.
Okay.
The textures are so good.
Okay. All right. All right, let's see. Yeah,
this is great podcasting, by the way. I don't know if it's good for the audience, but this is...
I don't care. It's a great experience.
Rules.
Okay. I like it.
Really good crust. Really not soggy crust.
I love that. How do you... This feels like he got some scientists.
I mean, the salt factor on these alone is... you know what? I like an ice cream place that's not just overwhelmingly sweet. Has some texture, some salts.
Yeah.
Like
his ice cream is doing a lot. It feels like an ice cream that you can't have too much of.
I'm back on the espresso.
All right. I feel like we might need to end the show because we're not going to be able to get anything else done. All right. Finally, shout out again to Sunday Scoops. If you're in Virginia or headed to Virginia Beach, go see them. Get some of that ice cream. Send us a picture or something. We'll show you some love. Phil, thanks a lot. Like, this is genuinely very good ice cream. I'm not just saying that because you didn't pay us. I would lie if you paid us, but since you didn't pay us, we'll tell the truth. It's really good ice cream. Thank you to him. Thank you to Billy Gill for being our guest. Thank you for Charlie for being the words I'm going to use, the words that we can't use. Someone who loves ice cream a lot.
You just can call me a fat I loved it.
Thanks to all the great producers. I love you, Podville. Thank you for putting all these ice cream in bowls for us. This has been great. So happy to be back. Taking breaks is dumb. We're out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.